Okay, I'm pretty sure I mostly understood what went on in this one. Legion Chapter 10, second episode of Season 2. And like I said, I pretty much could follow this one, which is good. Season 1 did a really good balance of this too, and it seems like so far Season 2 is maintaining it, which is that for every episode where I'm like, I don't know what I just watched, but I'm fascinated by it, I'll get one that I don't want to say is straightforward, because that's a leap for this show, but is comparatively easy to summarize. So this is an episode, spoilers by the way, so this is an episode where we dig a little bit more into the idea of David helping out the Shadow King, or Farouk. I guess I'll just start calling him that because that's what they call him most of the time. Sort of how that goes not the way he wants it to go initially, some of the consequences of that, him trying to figure out how to get the best possible result out of a situation he barely understands. And yeah, I could actually more or less follow this. I don't know how many other people's heads would go to this place, but I really hope the whole thing with Lenny and Oliver breaking in and singing Swinging on a Star was a Hudson Hawk reference. Please tell me that's what it was. No one else remembers that movie but me, I swear sometimes. And we got, so apparently now we've got an actor basically playing Farouk. Previously last season we had, the yellow-eyed king, which was just sort of this thing that looked good when it was in the background. It got some focus shots later on in the season where it didn't look so good. I'm glad that's not back. However, I was initially very edgy about the concept of having a new actor to play this part, because I really liked Aubrey Plaza embodying this character, which she did very well in the previous season, but it does not appear that Lenny is now going to go away. She's still going to be there, but now being more or less herself, as opposed to having to embody Farouk so much. But she's still around, and I expect her to remain around. So I am glad for that. That said, I am still I'm probably going to be a little bit sad, as I expect the nature of her to change a little bit. She's probably going to go back mostly to just being the kind of twitchy character, which we saw a little bit more of this episode, whereas I kind of liked her at her best when there was the balance between the twitchy energy and the more sort of calculating nature of what Farouk brought to the table. So I still may be a little bit sad for what Aubrey Plaza is called upon to do for the remainder of this season, but she's not gone, so I'll take it. As far as other stuff, I'm glad that Carrie is okay. And I like Carrie a lot. I like the whole concept of that character, of those two characters. Yeah, I love that. It's so weird and strange and has not really gotten a proper explanation, and I don't ever want it to. So I'm glad that they are all right. That was one of my big tension moments in the previous season, where it seemed like one or both of them might die. So I am quite relieved for that. I feel like we're getting into David's fractured psyche a little bit more. We got a little bit more of him with the voices in his head, some of which were very clearly the thoughts of someone he was talking to, others of which seemed to just be himself kind of yelling in his own head about something. In either case, it was wonderfully distracting, especially where he's got that scene where Oliver's wife, whose name is now escaping me for some reason, where she's talking about something, and he's just, you as the audience, you missed a whole chunk of it because the voices in his head kind of dominate. And so we're getting a bit more of that with him right now, which again I think is a good direction to go, especially because if nothing else, it gives a little bit of a grounding to the insanity. The whole concept with is another character whose name is now escaping me at the moment, the guy with the basket on his head and all of his mustache lady secretaries or whatever they are who sound like GLaDOS from Portal. Again, I don't know what's going on there, but it's so weird. I kind of love it. I'm just... I'm really glad that I could follow this episode better than I could the previous one, because honestly, after that first episode for the second season, I was worried that trying to do reviews for these episodes was just going to be an exercise in I don't know. And it still, even now, kind of is, because I only kind of know with this episode, but having something a bit more coherent, I feel like I can't actually talk about it. If this second episode had been as abstract and nuts as that first one, there'd be a fair chance that instead of giving a review, I'd be putting out a video explaining why I'm not going to keep doing reviews for this show, because I don't know how to review these episodes. But I don't think that's going to be necessary. But this show is so crazy, and it's funny because there's a couple of people I know who recommend this show to like everybody, and I absolutely do not. There are people for whom this is, forget impenetrable, it'll just be infuriating. But for me, it's just the right level of what the hell was that? This is nuts. So yeah, I guess that's about it for second episode of Legion. I'm really curious to see how things move forward. How much is David getting played with what he's doing? Or does he realize that and he's not letting on? Who knows? But obviously this whole alliance is going to go super bad. It's just a question of at what point that happens. And now, of course, we've also got the hint of something way worse than Farouk, way worse than the Shadow King. And you're just left going, wait a minute, what? And I will be really curious to see what that ends up being. I suspect that'll be another nice little X-Men Easter egg of some nature. But yeah, there's so many... Like, I was gonna say there's so many ways for this to go, but even that's unfair. Like, I literally have no clue where you go from this, and which is often the case with Legion. That just makes me enjoy it all the more. I don't know how you continue from that, but I want to see Legion Season 2, Episode 2. Did you see it? What were your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all the stuff to do, such as support me on Patreon and help make the show better, potentially. And, I'm on Twitter, and I've got a podcast, and there's t-shirts, etc., etc., etc. Links for all that stuff is down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.